Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hello Word, the podcast where we explore the fascinating world of English vocabulary. I'm your host, Alex, and I'm thrilled to have you join me today. Our word of the day is comic. So, what exactly does comic mean? Well, as a B2 level noun, comic primarily refers to a funny book or character. Think of those colorful magazines filled with sequential art telling a story, often humorous, or a person known for making others laugh. It's something that is intended to be amusing or funny. In everyday language, you might hear someone say, "I love reading comics on Sundays," or "he's a comic genius, always making jokes." Now, let's delve into some synonyms for comic. One close synonym is humorous. For example, "The movie was incredibly humorous. I laughed the whole time." Another synonym is droll, which implies an odd or dry sense of humor. You could say, "His droll comments always catch me off guard." We can also use the word funny. "She told a funny story about her cat." Another great synonym is witty. "He gave a witty speech at the awards ceremony." Or consider amusing, meaning causing laughter or providing entertainment. "The baby's antics were quite amusing." Let's look at how these synonyms work in sentences to replace comic. Instead of "he's a comic actor," we could say "he's a humorous actor," or "he's a funny actor." Instead of "the comic book was engaging," we could say "the humorous book was engaging." Let's move on to antonyms, words with opposite meanings. The opposite of comic would be something serious or tragic. A fitting antonym is tragic. An example is, "The play took a tragic turn in the final act." Another antonym could be solemn. We might say, "The funeral was a very solemn occasion." We can also use serious as an antonym. "He has a very serious demeanor." Another option is pathetic. While pathetic doesn't directly relate to seriousness, it can describe a situation that evokes sadness rather than laughter, so the sight was quite pathetic. Finally, consider the word melancholy. For instance, "The rainy weather put me in a melancholy mood." Using these antonyms in a sentence, we can contrast them with comic. For example, "The movie shifted from comic relief to a tragic ending." Or, "Despite his comic persona, he has a very serious side." Now, how can we use the word comic in everyday life? You might say, "I need a comic break after all this hard work." Or, "He always uses comic timing in his jokes." Another common expression is "he's a bit of a comic," meaning he's a funny person. You could also ask, "Have you seen the new comic movie?" Think about saying he is reading a comic at 3 p.m. More sentence and phrase examples. "She collects vintage comics." "The comic strip made me laugh out loud." "He drew a comic for the school newspaper." The comic character is known for his clumsiness. "She has a great sense of comic timing." The play featured elements of comic and tragedy. "His comic style is very unique." "I bought a comic for my little brother." The comic book adaptation was a huge success. "He's trying to be a comic, but he just isn't funny." The situation was so absurd it was almost comic. The dog's attempts to catch its tail were comic. "She found the situation darkly comic." He told a comic anecdote about his travels. The politician's speech was unintentionally comic. The film is a comic masterpiece. The comedian is known for his observational comic. The book includes a comic interlude. The artist's work often features comic elements. He is a comic genius. The comic artist has created a new superhero. The whole situation turned into a comic opera. The actor's comic delivery was spot on. The writer is a master of comic dialogue. The movie had a comic subplot. To recap, comic is a noun that refers to a funny book or character, or something intended to be amusing. We explored synonyms like humorous, droll, funny, witty, and amusing, and antonyms such as tragic, solemn, serious, pathetic, and melancholy. We also looked at ways to use comic in everyday conversations. Thanks for joining me today on Hello Word. I hope you found this episode enlightening and entertaining. Now, here's your call to action. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your support helps others discover our show and learn new vocabulary. And now I encourage you to create your own sentence using the word comic and share it as a comment under this video. I can't wait to read your creative examples.